But what about all of the side hustles? Remember, there was sort of a special, Meghan-infused wine, which just means, I don't know, it's morally better than all of us, and the jams and all the rest of it. Have you been ordering it across the pond, making sure that every now and then you get your little box of goodies from the house of Meghan?
No, not at all. But I've heard about the second load of wine, that it hadn't had time to settle and it would be absolutely very raw. So that was out. I didn't feel actually that I desperately had to have the rainbow of all the different fruits, and it would be such a lovely thing to start the day, and children will absolutely love it. I mean, I know if you've got children, you just get them out of the house to get to school very quickly. You don't start giving them, one of every fruit. You can do it. It was a sort of dreamland thing. And no, I'm not a jam eater, thank goodness. I love honey, but I don't get jam, and I wouldn't go anywhere near her honey, because she did pretend that she was taking it out without actually wearing gloves or a face, because she wanted to be seen. So that would have been not very nice, actually. So I feel that the whole thing is incredibly phony, and the women who have done good cooking and had lots of people who want to buy from them and learn from them. I mean, there's nothing very much that Meghan's organised or cooked that is actually in any way difficult. Now you can do those things, after 5 minutes, telling yourself what it is. I mean, it's just very feeble, I think.
But also, again, they haven't found the groove, right? They haven't found the groove either at what they're good at or what anyone is interested in. And that in and of itself becomes the problem. I mean, they've tried to obviously tell their own life stories. She's tried to make herself some sort of new version of Oprah, but I don't understand how they keep getting opportunities. I would have thought by now anyone who'd had a crack at them or tried to work with them would be walking away from them, because it feels like that in terms of the audience.
Yeah, that's right. But also, one of the things is that the cost of it, the first jam should have been one level, but actually she did 3 times what most people thought it was worth. And also, you could only take 3 bottles of wine at a time. And I think people think, well, why should I do that if I haven't tasted it? It's extremely expensive. I think I'll miss this one. And the thing about her talking, I mean, with her podcast, I mean, she doesn't let the other person speak. She pours out stuff about herself. And actually, it's quite moving at one way, because she has to tell them about her, as she needs to pour it all out and say all these things that actually are quite secret, because she doesn't actually know how to interview. I mean, if you and I, we've been interviewing for a long time, so you'd know that you don't pour out yourself to the other person, because it's not what you're there for. You're there to ask them how they are and what they're doing and all that. And she sort of says things that actually you can pick up afterwards and say, my goodness, is she actually saying that about herself?
It's one of those things where, I don't think anyone's interested in how I drizzle honey on the place. We know how it works. All right. Now about also the behaviour of Harry himself, right? Now, we know how diminished he is. We know the desperation is to get back, close to the mothership so he can turn on the mothership again. It's like professional wrestling about whether he's going to be a face or a heel, a good guy or a bad guy. But I honestly am surprised that even in the charity ventures that he's put up, the stories come out that apparently not all that pleasant, some of the stuff that has been going on inside those organisations and his own behaviours in and around them. What does that say to you? Because even when we're talking about a charity, surely the charity should be nothing other than good news, right?
Well, the charity should be, but I think Harry now is fighting everybody. He was trying to fight us in the UK because he wanted 24/7 protection. But he kept saying the king had to do it, it could do it. And actually you can't, because it's not one of those monarchies. He can't actually tell the government what to do, but he won't listen. And now, if he feels something has gone against him, he goes ballistic. He burns, and he actually tries to destroy them. And I think that that's actually absolutely extraordinary. In Bali in Africa, he has behaved abominably, I think. He hadn't gone, what he used to go, he went in 2206, which his father's idea, he should go out there between school and some sort of university or second time around. And he was very good. He was lovely with the children. He adored them and they adored him. But once Meghan came along, and you hear this line endlessly, once Meghan came along, he lost all interest and she didn't want him to go to Africa, I am quite sure. They went on the second day when they met, but that was to lie under the stars and actually get to know each other. That here was very different. And I think he's becoming spiteful and he's trying to attack it. The whole charity has crumbled at the moment. There's no children there at all, and it's actually the children that you want to care about. That's what's important. It's not important that Harry wins an argument. And I think this is what's now surrounding him all the time, that he can't actually have a conversation. If someone explains it to him perfectly nicely and says, actually, we don't do that, he then sort of wants to take you to court. He wants to make a huge fuss. And I think that's because he's missing something so much. But that's the reason why you can't actually get the king to see him, because he's going to really try very hard and find out a bit more about the cancer he has and actually, a bit of detail, because that way they can get their money from Netflix, because really Netflix is waiting, and this is the reason for their money, I'm sure, is that if they divorce, or they really split up in a huge way, they've got two people who can tell them everything about it. And that would make the money, as the second one did, Harry and Meghan. And they made an absolute fortune about that. But most of it was lies. And it was also incredibly cruel to the grandparents and his family.
Absolutely. I also never understand who's watching this stuff 2 years on, like who's sitting around and saying, now's the time I want to go and find out about this stuff. And just finally, I want to talk about King Charles, because we know that he's been crook, but he is powering on. What are you hearing about how hard he's working and how hard the work is on him?
I think he loves his work. I mean, the doctors have tried to cut it down, but actually he feels better when he's working. But Queen Camilla has won something, because he doesn't eat during the day. He has breakfast and he has dinner, but he won't have a lunch. And she's persuaded him to have half an avocado, because the doctor said this would help him because he shouldn't have an empty stomach at any time. So I think this is where we are. A little funny way of saying that, but he's been very brave. He doesn't moan like other members of the family do, and he just does his best to meet people and do as much as he can.
Angela, lovely to see you. Remember, her book about Camilla is must reading. She knows all of the insights. So good to talk to you. May it not be so long between drinks, but that means we have to call you, because you're too polite to call me. I appreciate it. Thank you, Angela.